money's already spent. It's at Mercy Hospital right now. It's gone. I used it to pay debts.
I'll be honest. I have no idea if Boogie is faking cancer.
Everyone there sucks, but you don't fight cancer for 2 years and decide to get it confirmed. That's just not how it works. And no reputable doctor should be willing to treat you with the same blood. Yes, no, sorry. If anyone didn't realize that, yeah, that should have been pretty self-evident from everything. Yes, if you're getting a cancer diagnosis and you're going to be taking treatment for that cancer, they're not going to be doing it under the presumption that you may or may not have this cancer. And then it's like, well, we're not entirely sure. We haven't had the conclusive evidence that you do in fact have cancer, or this is just being caused by sleep apnea. But we're just going to go ahead and start giving you treatment. What's the treatment, you ask? TBD. First off, I just want to preface this by saying every single person on screen, I'm not here to support. I'm not a fan of Keemstar. I'm not a fan of Boogie. I'm not a fan of any of the quote lolcow live crew. But everyone, if you don't know, probably knows Boogie2988, right? Or 2988, sorry, got that one backwards. Boogie was one of the original YouTube stars, became very, very, very famous playing a character, kind of, you know, a very loud, shrieking gamer style character that a lot of people loved. Francis, I think was his name. Wasn't my cup of tea, but if you're a older YouTube viewer, you probably knew about that phase, and he became extremely popular for that. Boogie's had a wild career trajectory, though. I mean, he went from doing that to becoming pretty much a figure for, you know, male positivity, fighting against people who do fat shaming, speaking at a lot of VidCons, talking about how people have consistently judged him for his weight, working and struggling with weight loss publicly as a public figure, a lot of that kind of stuff. And then, like a lot of people who kind of had a niche in the early aughts, you know, kind of fell off and tried becoming like a racist anti-LGBTQ plus gamer guy, and didn't really have a lot of success doing that. And now he's come back in the spotlight in the last couple of years. One, because of that documentary that came out that Mike wanted us all to watch that I wasn't really interested in. And then more recently, because he's the figure that came out and started really putting it out there that they should make games fun again and stop making games lectures about how being a white cishet male is bad. And then so myself and a lot of other people on the internet, especially, you know, people who love video games, were like, can you name it? Just name it. Can you name the game where it's a lecture about being white is bad? Which game does that? And that was kind of fun for a while because a lot of weirdos started popping up all over the internet thinking I gotcha, here you go, boom, here's an example, here's another one. They'd be like Wolfenstein, and like that's not white people are bad, that's Nazis are bad, that's fascists are bad, that's white supremacists are bad. And then it was like, okay, well how about this one? This is a game where apparently you play an indigenous person and you kill colonizers. So that's a lecture, isn't it? No. In that game, I guess, I haven't played it personally, but in that game the storyline would be colonization is bad, colonizers are bad, go kill the evil white supremacist colonizers. Not blanket statement, if you have white skin, you're a bad person. Very different. Important distinction, yeah, but a very clear one, clearly. Turned out that game they were talking about also was, for its own reasons, racist. They didn't consult any indigenous people when they made it. They didn't have any indigenous, like, writers, storylines. They just resorted to all of the, you know, very classic racist tropes of indigenous people. But either way, that there's not really an example that any of them could provide about how video games are lectures, and lectures about, you know, effectively teaching people that white people are bad. So that was the last, you know, Boogie's back in the spotlight, everybody. He's making all these posts, and people are like, give me an example. He won't do it. It's really annoying, but he keeps on getting these really popular posts every time he says, like, video games should be fun. They should be not about lecturing us about how white people are bad and white men are bad and stuff like that. It turns out they don't. The video games don't do that, and yeah. So that apparently devolved into him running a cryptocurrency scam for $10,000. He just recently did that. Not one of the ones where his account was hacked, but one of the ones where he just blatantly is like, everybody, let's do this. I'm launching my own cryptocurrency. Getting on the ground floor. We'll all make lots of money. And then publicly rug pull, and then walked away with about 10 grand. So there was that. Post that, he's been saying that he's got cancer and that he's been suffering from cancer for several years, which is obviously nothing to mock or fun of. It's a horrifying disease that I'm sure every single person alive has a lot of familiarity with, because I believe it's like when 3 people usually at some point in their lives are affected by it in one way or another. It's also an umbrella for a lot of different and you know, I'd say varied diseases. Oftentimes when you think of cancer, there's many different types of cancer, right? Everything from, you know, melanoma to having thyroid cancer to very serious cancers that can obviously be terminal, to cancers that are a lot easier to treat and stuff. And our ability to treat cancers, while there has been some progress, has usually resorted to very I would say a lot of the treatments for cancer, oftentimes you have to weigh whether or not it's worth it to you. If, like, you know, you have a relative who's dying from it, do they want to be on chemotherapy? Do they want to be on surgery? Do they want to undergo radiation? All these have terrible and horrifying consequences and side effects, because cancer is effectively a disease in which your own cells are continuously dividing and killing you, because they're causing growth and destroying the ability for other organs to function properly. So as they divide infinitely, the you know, to be able to select things and find and kill them at that small a level is still very difficult for us to do. There's breakthroughs, yes, there's always all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, it is still a very, very difficult and complicated disease, series of diseases, essentially. But one thing I can say is that faking having cancer for internet clout or money is up there with some of the worst and grossest things that you could possibly do. So apparently yesterday on this podcast, he got exposed for
this
it.
10K back to the people or whatever the fuck for the crypto scam, and he said, I can't. That money's gone
because I'm not getting paid this month. I don't know if I'm getting paid this month. That's what I said.
Oh my God. So this is why I'm pissed, people. He's going around and telling fucking YouTubers that I'm not paying him. Now here goes the second thing with Wings. All right, Wings. I heard about this cost this and that cost this and this cost this and oh my God, that cost this. I didn't hear about, oh my God, I got a fucking check for like $2,000 this month. I got a check for fucking $2,100 this month. I haven't heard you talking about the money you making. All I've heard is about the money that you're spending. I don't get it. You should be grateful for this show. But then last night I see you on a stream, like painting this fantasy that I'm scamming you. It's like, what the I got Boogie over here telling YouTubers that I'm not paying him at all. I got Wings painting a picture that I'm stealing from the show. What the I have a right to be pissed, and nobody's grateful.
First off, you had already left the show by the time you heard this clip. Let's not pretend this. Like, this is something you're like putting in after the fact.
Well, leaving the show is like a loose term, right? I'm always going to be working behind the scenes.
I don't know the people in this clip. So this is Keemstar. I would say effectively one of the most persistent cockroaches of the internet. Just one of the most horrifying human beings who's like, you know, drama alerts, basically profiting off people's like mental health and stuff like that. You know, many people have, I think, rightfully called him out for contributing to all the horrifying things that happened to Etika before his eventual suicide. And someone who's completely willing to just consistently exploit people and the situations that they're in for his show or for profit. That's basically, and getting away with it too. Like the list of shit that this individual has gotten away with, but still has multiple channels, massive channels on YouTube, is just, it's astonishing.
I'm just not doing these live streams anymore.
Yeah, what happens on the 20th, by the way, and Tommy's on vacation?
Well, I'm working behind the scenes. I'm just not going on camera. Not gonna.
Oh my God, we're on. Not X. We don't need him. Don't worry about him. You can say whatever you want, and it's gonna be like we said it. All right, are we good to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
we're good.
Okay. Boogie2988, you are being confronted tonight.
Go ahead.
I am 100% sure that you are faking.
No, don't move.
You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Okay, let's hear that.
Let's hear that.
Did the doctor ever tell you, or did he ever say the word cancer?
He said polycythemia vera, which is a form of cancer, as he explained it to me. And no, it is not secondary polycythemia, which is Nicholas Diorio's explanation for this bullshit.
So I think it is secondary polycythemia.
Well, then
can you explain?
Why would he call it polycythemia vera? Why would he tell me that I have hormone markers in my blood that tells me I have polycythemia vera? Why does he order a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it?
Well, if he ordered a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it, it would be weird that you told us that you already had a diagnosis and a confirmation.
Because the markers are in my blood. The hormone markers are in my blood, Destiny.
Correct. But you said that you'd received a diagnosis, but now you just told me you got a bone marrow biopsy.
It's a diagnosis, and now we're confirming. It's called a confirmation. The hormone markers are already in my blood.
Yep.
And
so I think
we are confirming it with the biopsy because I'm wanting to do that because I'm praying to God I don't have cancer.
He doesn't care.
I'm praying to God I'm taking the 1 in a million chance that they're wrong, and there's another reason that I have the hormone imbalances in my blood.
Yeah. Why are you praying to God 2 years after you said that you have cancer that you don't have cancer?
Because 2 years ago, they told me I have polycythemia vera based on the fact that I had increased red blood cell counts, increased hemoglobin, and the hormone markers in my blood. And it all spelled pretty definitively that I have this. And so he wanted to get a bone marrow biopsy, but it is intrusive and expensive, so they decided to forego it. I would like to still get it done because I am hopeful, I am praying that there's a merciful God of the world that would be willing to let this be wrong, even though it most certainly is not.
So why are you talking about expensive cancer treatments if they don't even know if you have cancer? That nothing
because
has been.
They're treating it, dipshit. Because they've been treating it for 2 years.
How are they treating it, Boogie?
Blood test, blood thinners, bloodletting, medications. They're trying to get my weight down. I'm seeing the doctor every 3 months. I'm doing blood tests every month. We're doing it.
So they don't know if you have cancer
know?
or not. So can I understand
They're
this?
gonna hold my hand.
Sure, so I mean, I can explain. So I can explain everything, right? So Boogie has a condition called polycythemia, which means there's an elevation.
Polycythemia vera.
Let him talk, you fat. I want to hear the guy that actually knows something.
Polycythemia vera.
Destiny, go ahead.
He knows more about my fucking medical.
Yes. To be clear, no one here is a doctor. Just I don't know if that's a disclaimer that warrants necessity, but yes, no one here is a doctor at all.
Yes, I guarantee. Well, he's
go right the fuck ahead. I was in the room. My girlfriend was in the room and they told me.
You are filibustering.
Destiny. Go right
You are filibustering, sir.
Be nice. Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead. Okay, so I think that Boogie was told that he has polycythemia, which means he has an elevation of his red blood cells. Now, there is a cancer known as polycythemia vera, which is caused by a mutation in some part of your body that causes an elevation of 3 different levels of things you'll find. One of those is the red blood cell count. However, when Boogie was talking about the polycythemia, he mentioned a couple things that I thought were interesting. The first was that taking an exogenous hormone, TRT, testosterone, that caused an increase in him developing this condition. So taking testosterone will not cause you to develop a cancer. That doesn't, not for this particular cancer, it won't. It will cause you to develop secondary polycythemia. The second thing that he mentioned was that his doctor ordered a sleep study. That's because one of the things that can cause your body to produce more red blood cells is if you have hypoxemia, which is a lower count of, or a low amount of oxygen in your blood for an extended period of time. And the reason why he ordered that sleep study is probably because Boogie either has pulmonary obstructive something, or he has, as he mentioned, sleep apnea. And sleep apnea, which is a decrease in oxygen overnight, can lead to a decrease in oxygen in your blood, which can lead to an increase in the production of red blood cells. All of the things that Boogie described, both the things that cause this and the treatments for it, are consistent with secondary polycythemia. None of these are consistent with cancer. And the fact that he's saying that they've now ordered a biopsy 2 years after. 2 years after.
May I review?
He's not done. He's not done.
Yeah. 2 years ago, you said that you had a cancer diagnosis, but now you just said now they're doing a biopsy to check for cancer. Confirmation. Is this house MD? Are we treating a blood cancer without actually confirming it yet? For 2 years, you've been having a cancer treatment without confirming there's actually cancer there?
Because it was in my blood markers, and that's pretty goddamn definitive. You can Google that, Destiny. When you have the hormones, when you have the hormone in the blood that is produced by this cancer, it's pretty goddamn definitive. It doesn't show up for just the sakes of it.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Boogie, you want to keep saying you're the patient, you know what your body has.
Yes.
When I go to the doctor, they give me like this, which is like papers that will tell me.
I was going to say, Boogie can have this whole
exactly
thing.
the
Tell me a
diagnosis.
single document with polycythemia vera on it. You don't have one. I don't think the doctor ever diagnosed you with it.
Can I ask you something, Destiny? Is it possible that when the doctor was seeing him, they were asking you could have polycythemia, if I'm saying it correctly, or polycythemia vera, but you don't have the cancer version, you have this version. Is that possible? I'm asking him. Is it could be like a loss of translation type situation?
Yeah, so polycythemia just means you have an elevation of red blood cells. That's all it means. Your red blood cell count is high.
So you could just be fat and sleep apnea can create that, because I'm both.
Sleep apnea could do it, anything, like that could cause it. And the fact that Boogie said, we knew that when I was taking TRT, this was a risk of that. That means that risk is to develop secondary polycythemia. That was the risk, and then that is what ended up happening, unfortunately. But it's not cancer. That was induced because of just a low oxygenation of the blood.
So why? Explain to me, Destiny, why there are markers, hormone markers in my blood that have tested positively for polycythemia vera. Explain that.
If there was,
medical papers, dude.
I'm never showing any of these motherfuckers my medical papers. Go f yourself. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm standing by it now. Destiny, Jackson Clark, Keemstar, you can see it when I fucking die. It's my fucking goddamn medical record. I've given you every goddamn phone call. I've given you every fucking text. I've given you. It's never made a single goddamn thing better. I'm not gonna fucking do it. Go f yourselves.
You could easily end this right now by just showing
I would rather you
motherfuckers.
Continue to LARP. I would rather you motherfuckers continue to LARP than to have the last goddamn thing. The last goddamn thing.
You're the one who accused of LARPing.
Security I have in the fucking world.
You're the one being accused of LARPing.
The easy thing here is if there are blood markers that definitively confirm polycythemia vera as a blood cancer, then why are they doing a biopsy?
Because I'm insisting on it, because I'm hoping they're wrong.
No, wait. Why would you have to insist on a biopsy if you can confirm with with blood markers? It's because
I'm hoping that I are wrong. Because I'm hoping they are wrong.
You're hoping they're wrong. Then why 2 years ago are you talking about fighting cancer? Why would you be talking about? I have been
for 2 years, Destiny.
Fighting cancer? How? With what? With blood thinners?
Because
this one's for you.
Because because you treat polycythemia vera almost identically to the way that you treat polycythemia, because you can't attack the cancer directly. All you can do is treat the symptoms, and the symptoms are identical.
But my understanding from my limited knowledge of having listened to this, nightmare, is that those are two completely different things. Though one of them is a cancer, and the other is not. I'm trying to find the video he made.
To polycythemia, because it's the same fucking thing, with the exception of one's getting caused by an external source and the other's being caused by fucking cancer. And in this case, it's getting caused by fucking cancer, Destiny.
So I do think there are different treatments available for polycythemia vera, and I think that the outcomes for that are significantly worse than just having it induced by some other thing like sleep apnea or hypoxia. But I mean, if you wanted to,
the plan is pretty identical. The treatment plan is pretty identical.
So if there are two huge things. So one, you could show it to a private party and they could confirm, somebody like Keemstar. But two, the issue is that if you want to keep your medical issues to yourself, I think everybody is entitled to that right, obviously.
I should have never talked about it to begin with. This is one of the reasons I was going to do a GoFundMe. This is one of the reasons I was going to do a GoFundMe, was because they verify, for the record. They verify. That would be the third party that I would go forward with.
Yeah, so GoFundMe does not do the best verification, as has been proven multiple times in the past. But the issue is that you say that you shouldn't have talked about it, but the fact is that you did. You did the day that you got the diagnosis. You're like, well, I was considering doing this, but I just got my diagnosis today. So you did it instantly.
I sat on it for a while.
Wait, on your tweet, did you not say that I got my diagnosis today and then talk about it?
They told me, they told me in the office that they were worried about it. Then they did the blood tests. Then, yes, I did tweet about it on the day that I got confirmation, but I sat on it for a couple of months before, or for a couple of weeks before talking about it, because it took a while for us to get the blood results back.
So you sat on it when you didn't know the answer? That's not called sitting on it. That's just called waiting for an answer.
He crushed it.
Also, if you were so keen on diagnosing whether you had cancer or not, why would you wait 2 years to get the
followed my Twitter before, but I tend to tweet as it happens. This one I decided to stand on for a little while.
Real-time news, motherfucker.
I don't understand why you're waiting.
Solid cancer diagnosis.
Cancer is pretty serious.
There is no cancer. It's secondary polycythemia.
YouTuber we accused of a crypto scam just got accused of faking cancer.
You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Despite being offered a total of $80,000 to prove everyone wrong if he could show his diagnosis to a private third party, he refused to do so, which is annoying because publicly he uses his cancer as a shield from any wrongdoing. In fact, when I confronted Boogie on his crypto scam, that's one of the reasons he used.
I'm in pretty dire need of money. I have a lot of medical bills, and I'm fighting cancer.
And more specifically, why he had to promote the coin and couldn't pay back $5,000.
The money's already spent. It's at Mercy Hospital right now. It's gone. I used it to pay debts.
I'll be honest, I have no idea if Boogie is faking cancer.
Everyone there sucks, but dude, you don't fight cancer for 2 years and decide to get it confirmed. That's just not how it works. And no reputable doctor would be willing to treat you with the same blood. Yes, no, sorry. If anyone didn't realize that, yeah, that should have been pretty self-evident from everything. Yes, if you're getting a cancer diagnosis and you're going to be taking treatment for that cancer, they're not going to be doing it under the presumption that you may or may not have this cancer. And then it's like, well, we're not entirely sure. We haven't had the conclusive evidence that you do in fact have cancer, or this just being caused by sleep apnea. But we're just going to go ahead and start giving you treatment. What's the treatment, you ask? TBD. Right? Like, no, that's not how any of this works, right? Like, if anything, most likely a doctor is going to be offering you options after they've discovered what, and conclusively can say through a biopsy or through some other process, what kind of cancer you have. So you may go in and you're like, hey, by the way, I really don't like this growth, the skin, you know, that's right here. For some reason, it's discolored. I'm really worried it could be melanoma. What do you think? Doctor takes a look at it. Well, I'll be honest with you, based on my experience, that could very well be, but it could be something else. We won't know for sure or conclusively until we do biopsy. We've done a biopsy. Yes, unfortunately, that is melanoma, and you do have skin cancer. At this point, here are your options. We can remove it very simply and just simply do an incision where we're going to cut it off and it's going to be done. You don't have to be put under. That's one of your options. You could try and ignore it for a while, but that could probably develop into something far more serious. If you do, we would recommend this as your possible course of action. But of course, you're welcome to make a decision for your own health on your behalf, right? Having gone through all of that thing from start to finish now at that point, that would be around the area where you start to decide, hey, I'm going to now decide what I want to do as far as a treatment and blah, blah, blah. If you're also a public figure, at no point along this are you also thinking, so at one point, is it ready for me to launch my cryptocurrency or do a cryptocurrency scam or try to get a whole bunch of people to donate money to me based on like that is something that obviously is completely personal. Any person can decide whether or not they actually want to publicly reveal that they're battling some kind of like really, really serious disease, especially one as detrimental as a potential kind of blood cancer, right? Like those are usually pretty deadly because it just spreads throughout the entire body so rapidly. So using that at any point as a, hey, everyone, I've got cancer conclusively, and you don't conclusively have cancer is a fucked up thing, to say the very least, to do. It's fucked up to do to, like, not even if you're a public figure, but just to friends and people in your own circles and lives, essentially. Especially if it's like, if you're worried about something and a doctor's like, so it could be this and it could be nothing, don't run around telling people, I think it's the worst case scenario, or it's been confirmed it's the worst case scenario, when it hasn't at all, right?
Also, don't understand why he wouldn't just show it if he had a diagnosis, but either way, we won't know without an actual doctor involved. So I won't speculate on that, but what I can do is confront Boogie on this second claim, the cancer and medical bills, because I found out a few days ago that these statements were false. I know this because Boogie gave us a timeline of when he got paid in the first place. So when were you paid the $5,000?
5 days ago.
Later, I verified with Boogie this payment occurred on June 19th. And when Boogie said all the money was gone on June 26th, that gives us a window of time.
Something just got hit by lightning outside my house. Be careful. Don't go outside.
Where he should have receipts for about $5,000 of medical expenses. Boogie, when I asked, agreed to share these expenses with me, and the following conclusions are based on him providing accurate records, which I know is a dubious idea, but when he shared what he had, it fell far short of even what I was expecting. He gave me 2 receipts for the time period, one for $154, the other for a copay of $60, a total of $214 by the time we talked. So where did the rest of the money go? Well, Boogie claimed that it was really intended for medical expenses after we spoke, and that when he said the money was gone, he meant it colloquially and then accused me of lying. Wait, that's on June 28th. That's on June 28th. You showed me a payment for $550 on June 28th, which is after we talked, after you told me the money was all gone.
Yes! Have you never heard of the colloquialism? Yeah, that money's all gone. It's all spent. I have a specific thing I need to do with it. Have you never heard that colloquialism? Use fucking Google then. It's very common.
I'm saying...
I'm not used to this level of scrutiny. I'm
I
not
can
used
tell.
to this level of
Yes.
scrutiny.
Yes. Okay, so I have a big problem with this because looking back at what Boogie said, it wasn't just the money's gone, which already means very specifically the money's gone, but he also says the money's at Mercy Hospital right now, which is a colloquialism I've never heard before if you mean it's not at Mercy Hospital.
It's at Mercy Hospital right now.
But even being as charitable as I can, adding in everything he calls medical expenses outside of our time window, like there was an $1,000 credit card payment. Okay, we'll just say that's medical, right? He's still only able to get me to about $2,500 worth of medical expenses for the month, most of it not to Mercy Hospital, which I wondered about. Did he need the fatty coin then from where I was sitting instead of having spent the money?
That was the name of his cryptocurrency scam, by the way.
On medical bills. It looked like he saved most of it because of his starting and ending bank balances for the month. Wait, you're taking...
A fucking liar.
You paid about $2,500. Like you're also talking about money you haven't spent, which you're trying to add up to $3,000. That's not the $5,000 you said was gone. And then you're taking...
Well, I told you it was $4,000 when we started this conversation, but of course you're lying about that too.
Boogie, can you explain exactly how you started the month with $800, ended it with $5,000? You're saying the $5,000 you made from a crypto scam has nothing to do with it.
I saved my ass off.
That's right. The $5,000 Boogie made from a crypto scam has nothing to do with the $5,000 sitting in his bank account right now. That's there because he pinched his pennies. Now, when I pointed out Boogie could have refunded the scam if he wanted to, he freaked out and told me he's got a mortgage to pay.
Anarchist.
Boogie, you need to pay that $5,000 back. You need to find a way to refund people.
You, it's spent. If I do, I won't have
It's not spent. You have $5,000.
No, well, I can't.
This is one of the wildest things about cryptocurrency scams, by the way, because cryptocurrency and blockchain, it's sold as a technology that's anonymous, and that's one of the most and precious advantages of it, essentially, is that no one knows, because all of these, cryptocurrency wallets, they're all just a series of numbers and letters, so no one really knows who has what and what happens to it. The thing is, when people have successfully associated you with a wallet, at that point and from then onward, there's a public ledger of everything you do. Everyone can front-facing and publicly see every transaction you make. So at that point, it's like, hey, we can see whether or not you have the money and where the money's going and where it's coming from, because it's all going to be written up on the blockchain forever. That's kind of, at that point, it's a lot harder to start denying aspects of it.
I won't have mortgage.
But this is totally shifting the goalposts. Remember, the reason we were told the money was at Mercy Hospital right now, that was initially. Now it's because he's got a mortgage. But also, Boogie had showed me his income for the last month, and it looked to me like the podcast is what paid for his mortgage. And so I asked, wouldn't that...
And again, this is all, it's just profoundly sad, because it's one of those things where there's probably still people who love this content creator for his content or whatever. They've been watching him his whole life, and so they have a parasocial relationship with him. So when they see him doing all these wild things, it's like, okay, fine, I've like Boogie, I'll buy $10 worth of his cryptocurrency, or I'll donate to this GoFundMe, or I'll do whatever it takes. And the whole thing is just an outright scam. He's literally just stealing every last cent that he can from whoever remains. Yeah, it's profoundly sad and pathetic.
That money pay for your mortgage? Boogie said this month it wouldn't, because he had to go on a special trip, and his co-host was withholding all the money for that month.
Do you understand?
You're not getting Where's your podcast payment coming from? You got that on the 30th.
It's being fucking kept so we could go for this goddamn trip. The money's coming out of my goddamn paycheck.
So you're going on a trip.
Yes, I'm being forced to go up there to film the fucking podcast live. I told him I didn't want to. He told me the business was going to pay for it. And then he just said he's taking it out of the check.
Now, later, I asked his co-host Keemstar about this, and he seemed surprised. He said the show definitely pays for Boogie's mortgage, so I was confused. Later, Boogie was confronted on this by his co-hosts, and Boogie suggested maybe I edited the clip out of context.
You told him that you weren't getting paid from this show. He played the fucking recording because he recorded you.
Then why? Then I understand that. Do you think people can edit things to be a little bit out of context?
Well, if he wants to play that game, here's the clip where Boogie directly says it. He says he's not getting paid. Boogie, you could have gotten through this month without the crypto scam, is what I'm saying.
And I could have not paid my friend back for covering my medical bills.
No.
And I couldn't. No, listen.
Well, I've seen your bank statement, so I know.
Because you're ignoring
I know
the
what's
fact
going to happen.
that I need to pay mortgage.
Yes, your mortgage, right, which should have come from the podcast.
There's no more money coming in between now and then.
Which should have come, but it should have come from the podcast. It's not.
Right, because I'm not getting paid this month because I have to travel to do an on-location shoot.
This guy is so manipulative. He has managed to move the story from the money's at Mercy Hospital right now to, well, I have $2,500 of medical expenses at some point in the month to, well, the reason I'm ending the month with $5,000 is because I'm such a great saver and I needed to pay my mortgage to, no, actually that mortgage was paid for too. The last point I want to address is the accusations he made against me on his show. He says he should have never taken a call with me. He says I recorded him without his consent, despite me telling him up front this was all going to be public and that I was approaching him for comment. This guy now acts like I tricked him.
I should have never talked to CoffeeZilla to begin with. It was a joke, CoffeeZilla.
Who told you that?
Of course you fucking did. Much less the second fucking time. Then in this, by the way, CoffeeZilla records you without telling you he records you.
That's not
Name
true.
a
He
YouTuber
told,
does.
He told
no,
me.
he did in the first time. In the first time.
Well, I think it's worth showing you then how he talked about me behind the scenes when he spoke with me, because it was very different to what he's saying now. Now he's saying I'm taking him out of context, that he didn't know what was going on. Here's what he was saying back then.
Amount of integrity. I really, really appreciate it.
Hey, no. I mean, to be honest, I'm happy to do it. It's something that I really like people to know ahead of time. I mean, it's not. Yeah. I try to play a long game with YouTube. I'm not interested in like a quick video. Like, who cares? Like, I'd rather, you know, you look better and you get your point across than. Thank you.
And it shows that you have the integrity that I believe you did. 110%. It means
I'll be honest, like if you got CoffeeZilla on the case, dot your I's, cross your T's, and start trying to organize for phase escape, like escape room hatch at that point. You know, it's not going to be something that you can just yell your way out of. It's like, yes, that CoffeeZilla. He does seem to have quite a bit of, detail in his investigations. But I figure if I get him on like the phone thing, I can scream, I can yell. I'll trick him. He won't be able to get through this.
It means so much. Many YouTubers would not have.
If you don't want to be taken down by CoffeeZilla, don't scam people. Also that, I mean, yeah, the guy is incredibly thorough, and like he goes through the trouble of actually getting the receipts, proving it all. You know, at the end of the day, he can expose people for billions and billions of dollars worth of scams, and has done a lot of really important work. And some of those people, you know, they're immune to it. What's his face? Logan Paul is obviously just never going to pay anyone back. He said he would, then he just lied about it, and is just like, yeah, you know what, fuck it. I don't have to, right? And legally, that's the whole beauty of crypto.
Done that for me, and you did, and I think that's incredible. And no matter what you have to say in this video, I'll never have a bad thing to say about you. Even on the show, even on the local podcast where my job is going to be to attack you back, I'm just not going to do it. I'm like, no, I think coffee was fair. I'll be genuine. Okay.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
All right.
I really appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Have a good night.
I also don't understand what the point of that. Okay. I'm sorry. Did you want reciprocity? Oh no, I'm still doing a story on how you're a horrifying scammer and how you scam people, and it's disgusting, and that you shouldn't have done that. Yes, no, I'm running with that one, but that's nice of you. Yeah, for sure.
All right, have a good
feels. Night. Good feelies. Well, I mean that's horrifying if true. Yeah, what the fuck? I honestly, the whole thing is just profoundly sad from start to finish. It's sad from there are real people, you know, dying from serious diseases that shouldn't have their, you know, diseases belittled or trivialized by turning them into ways of trying to get more money from your audience. And cryptocurrency scammers, just as a generality, I mean, they're just fucked up people trying to, take your monies.
Hey, if you'd like to unlock secret bonus episodes as well as uncensored content, go to patreon.com/The Serfs. This show is produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Puppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Travis McClinton, Trincell, Words Greenwood, with additional support coming from all of these amazing human beings right here.